In August 2011, Marina Projects Limited and their partnering company, PLC Architects, were appointed as the master plan consultants for the Stanley Waterfront Development project. After much deliberation and public consultation, Marina Projects submitted their final report in October 2012, and Executive Council approved the paper and its recommendations the same month, concluding the Stanley Waterfront Master Plan project. Over 2 years on since the report was concluded, and the plans to change the Arch Green area in particular has stirred somewhat of a debate in recent weeks. Members of the community have expressed concerns over the enhancements to the Whalebone Arch Garden, where they are looking to uplift some of these well-established shrub borders and perhaps replace them with a paved area on the ground showcasing the Falklands flag, a decision which hasn't been received too kindly by some local residents.
The aspect of this proposed Falkland Islands flag to be done in stone on the sort of paved area, which I have, and I think a lot of people had very strong views on, that do we actually really want to encourage visitors to our country to effectively trample on our national flag, so to speak, quite apart from what I suggested in the paper, what visitors from one particular country might be likely to do on it.
We don't have many green areas here, so why just that little bit there extend it into pavement, who will only be used by some tourists a few days of the year? And quite frankly, I am incensed at whoever thought of putting a flag on the pavement so that it can be walked on. I was always brought up to respect our flag, not to walk on it. There will be some visitors who probably do rather strange things on it, and others will just simply walk on it, not even realising what it is. It's tacky. It's a tacky idea. I'm sorry. I don't approve of it.
The discussion over the Arch Green development plans escalated further across social media, where some residents were enraged at the lack of public consultation over the changes that had been proposed to the Whalebone Arch Garden. FITV caught up with the Project Co-ordinator of the Waterfront Development to address the community's concerns and to find out just why these enhancements are being made. Now, I've spoken to some members of the community who have expressed their concerns on the Arch Green Garden, and they propose the following questions, which hopefully you'll be able to answer the grey area. So one question is, why do anything to the existing fronting of Arch Green? People were quite happy with the way it was, it didn't need changing.
Well, this was based on the previous public consultations we had for the Waterfront Master Plan, where I spoke to people who came in for the open sessions, and we mentioned in the public meeting that there's a possibility that Arch Green could be opened up to allow more people to go into the area, and that we heard no objections. And I remember asking a few people if they felt that Arch Green should remain untouched, like the feedback we got on Victory Green. And the response was positive to doing something different, well, not different, but maybe some minor improvements. So that's what we based it on. And the idea for Arch Green is to open it up because that particular area is a pinch point, because there's a building across the road, the boathouse, which is not going to be moved. And so people have to cross the road from the public jetty from the north side to get to Victory Green, and if they want to move along the waterfront. So the idea is to open it up, allow people to go into the area, move away from the road, cause less congestion on that particular area, and so they can safely take pictures and enjoy the area. But not only for tourists, but also just to open up the area for locals as well. It is used by the public in Stanley, but I think if it could be opened up more and made more user-friendly with more benches and more areas for seating, more people would enjoy it. So that's the idea for Arch Green, is to open it up for tourists, move the congestion away from the road, but also for residents so they can enjoy it year-round as well.
Similarly, people are concerned with the fact that a well-established shrub and flower border will be uplifted, and once it's moved, obviously you can't replace that. What would you say to this one?
And that's an understandable concern. And rightly so, people say there's not many green spaces in the Falklands with flowers and plants. So that they're right to ask the question. But the idea was to move them, or the best we can, maybe replace them. They will be moved back to open up the area so people can walk in from the pavement. I wouldn't say we're getting rid of them, but there will be plans for more plants and shrubbery in the proposed Arch Green plan.
Now, arguably one of the largest concerns were to be putting the Falklands flag as a paved area in the ground. Now, essentially this would mean that members of the public could be walking over our national flag, which has stirred quite a bit of concern. What's the latest on this one as it stands now?
The latest on this is there has been a new application or revised application submitted to the planning committee that will be considered tomorrow, and that doesn't include the flag. But it was included at the very beginning as an example, and we tried to make it clear that it was an example of what could be put there in that paved area, if anything was going to be put there. So it has rightly taken a lot of attention because people have raised some very genuine concerns about it. But it was an example, and from the feedback that we have and the comments that we've received and the comments that I've seen in public as well, that the flag is unwanted and it will cause problems. So from the time being, that if the plan is to go ahead, there will be no flag on the ground.
Another question was, for whose benefit are the changes being made? Is it for the tourists and visitors that come for just one part of the year? Or is it indeed for the locals and residents here in Stanley? Because actually, arguably, they're saying they didn't want change. They were quite happy with the way the Arch Green development already was.
That's a very good question. The plan was for both, for residents and for tourists. One of the first objective in the Waterfront Master Plan project was any changes would have to be for residents and tourists. But most importantly, the word residents comes first, because we're here all year round. I'm a resident of Stanley, and I want to make sure that if there's any changes, it benefits the people who live here. So that's the most important point. But yes, it is for tourists as well. As I said before, it's to open up the area so people can enjoy it more. Because it's a gated area, I see most tourists don't go into the area and they don't enjoy the area, and they stand on the narrow pathway next to the road, in between the road and Arch Green, to try and take pictures. They move out onto the road to try and get a better picture, to get a better angle. And I just think if we open the area up, it would allow them to enjoy the area more. They'll be able to enjoy the area more safely, take their pictures without getting in the way of cars and traffic in the road. But yeah, most importantly, it is for residents as well.
Following the interview with Michael Betts, a further planning and building meeting took place for members of the community to outline their concerns before the committee. The outcome was as follows. Residents recommended a refusal for the waterfront planning application as it stands currently. This was followed by a new proposal from the committee, which corresponded accordingly to the feedback submitted from local residents. The new plans are set to be put forward for further public consultation before a final decision on the waterfront development is made. This is Sophie Dawson, reporting for FITV News.